Two of the best 3-3 teams in college football square off. Kentucky travels to the Swamp. Let's talk about it, give a prediction at the end, and of course, mention our college football 25 model. So let's hop right into it. Kentucky has one of the best front sevens in all of college football, but lately they've been playing very disappointingly with their loss to Vanderbilt, which now Alabama lost to Vanderbilt, so maybe Vanderbilt's a lot better than we think, but then again, Vanderbilt lost to like Georgia State or Georgia Southern, whichever one. Obviously not an SEC school, but this Kentucky team is so unbelievably up and down over and over and over again. They play it very close to Georgia. They lose 13-12, but then they get blown out by South Carolina. They beat a top Ole Miss team who now looks a little fraudulent, but still a road victory, a massive upset for the Wildcats, but then they turn around and lose to Vanderbilt. So the questions here to me are on the offensive side of the football. The offense just hasn't been clicking. However, what I do want to talk about is when Brock Vandagriff can get it going, the quarterback for Kentucky, he knows how to get it on. 243 yards versus Ole Miss. He made some massive plays. They have allowed 16 sacks so far this season. I think the pressure might be getting to him. But overall, this Kentucky team with the wide receiver Barionbrown, who I talked about at the beginning of the year, is performing around how I thought that they would perform. They are a 7-5, 6-6 type team, although they have some premium talent that you're definitely going to see in the NFL in the next few seasons. All that being said, I think it's really hard to win on the road, and to me, Kentucky has gotten their big road win out of the way when they beat Ole Miss. I don't know if they could do it again against Florida. Now, the Florida side of the football. I said at the beginning of the year, Florida was a 4-8 team. And this Kentucky game is the hinge one. If they win this game, they could beat Florida State at the end of the year and go 5-7. If they lose this game, who knows what could happen against Florida State at the end of the season. They could honestly go 3-9. But what I do want to talk about, at the beginning of the year, of course, I already said I had them 4-8, but I did say I think that this is close to a top 25 roster. The problem is they play 7 or 8 teams on the schedule that have a better than top 25 roster. 3 already: Texas A&M, Tennessee, Miami. They lost all 3 of them, rightfully so. Those teams are more talented and they played harder. Now, they almost beat Tennessee on the road, which I was unbelievably impressed with, but all that being said, they're 3-3, and here we are now, a 3-3 versus 3-3 matchup. The big keynote here for Florida is Graham Mertz, their starting quarterback, is out for the season. Now, he did not have the year that everyone was kind of expecting him to have. As a matter of fact, he gets injured in the Miami game, and then they start this 2 drives to 1 drive rotation between him and true freshman quarterback DJ Lagway, who is off the charts talented, but just very inexperienced. So with this Florida team, regardless of who is in the game, they're averaging 7.7 yards per pass, which personally I think is pretty impressive given the fact that they have all of these chemistry switches, different play styles and play types for who the quarterback is in the game. They're averaging 220 yards in the air, and their run offense has come alive in the last few weeks. We saw some flashes of it there at the end of the Tennessee game. I think that's what kept them in the ball game. And then they're number 9 in the country in completion percentage. Now, does that mean that DJ Lagway can keep that up? I don't think so. I think he's averaging around 65%. But what this tells me is that this Florida offense puts their quarterback in a position to succeed, and that's why it's so high in the country right now. I think they'll do the same for DJ Lagway. Now, Florida's defense is not doing that great. They're allowing 27 points per game, but then again, they have played some very talented and just all-around great offenses like Miami, and Tennessee did not perform that great last week, but they still have, statistically, a top 25 offense. Now, let's go back to the Kentucky side. I think Kentucky has a chance to put up some points here. Like I mentioned earlier, Brock Vandagriff had a pretty damn good game versus Ole Miss, and that Ole Miss defense is way better than the talent that Florida has on the field right now. They are also 11 for 11 on field goals, so I think anytime they get within the 30-yard line, It's field goal range, and I think Kentucky will be getting some points, even if it's on the road in the Swamp. So let's talk about my prediction. Personally, I have kind of been riding the Florida bandwagon. I've been a skeptic sometimes, like last week, but I think that they're going to win this game. The home field advantage is the deciding factor for me. And also, I want to note the over-under is pretty low, 42.5. I easily think that this could be a 27-20 type game. Florida's offense could be very explosive under Lagway. Kentucky's offense can take advantage of kind of a lackluster Florida defense. So I think this isn't going to be a shootout, but ladies and gentlemen, it could turn into something that we're not really expecting. So now let's talk about the college football model. For starters, the over-under, like I said, 42.5. This is pretty much a pick'em game, so we simmed this game 50 times in College Football 25. The exact time, the predicted weather, and the stadium. So all of those things factored in. Florida won 64% of the simulations, which means they covered 64% of the time. The median score was 23 to 27. Average was around 21, 22 to 26 points. Florida winning those averages and medians. The over hit 62% of the time, and that's what I'll be riding with this weekend. Those are my two picks in this game. Florida to outright win and the over 42.5. Our College Football 25 model has been pretty accurate so far, and we're going to just kind of stretch the limits of imagination here and just see how far we can go. We've got 9 games on the slate. This is one of them. Florida money line and over 42.5. We love both of those picks. So that's going to do it for this preview. Make sure you tune into the rest of our Week 8 previews. We've got 8 more to go. Thanks so much for watching again. We'll see you next time.